Hi guys! Second time I'm making chapter 13 because I'm using my phone and, low disk space. I really need to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can start getting paid so then I can make better videos and it'd be easier and I can get like a laptop and a camera. Make sure to subscribe, guys. Chapter 13 of My Teacher Glows in the Dark, which is the third book in the 4-part series of My Teacher is an Alien by Bruce Coville. It is chapter 13, called Aliens Won My Brain. If you haven't seen the last chapter, make sure to go check that out. Also on my channel. Actually, I suppose it would be more accurate to say that the aliens wanted to borrow my brain for a bit. I found out about it a couple of days after I'd come on board the New Jersey. I had just climbed out of my hammock and was getting ready to go order something to eat when my U-Rat began to buzz. Flipping it open, I saw Hulan. He looked upset. Krepta, I need to speak to you. May I come to your room? Could wait until after I have something to eat? I asked. Why don't I meet you in the dining area? He replied. That was fine with me, so we decided which dining area we would meet at. There were several thousand of them on board the ship. I punched the code into the transcendental elevator and stepped through the wall. Hulan arrived in a pair of brilliant red shorts covered with tropical flowers and purple butterflies. We took a seat in a quiet corner. So what's up? I asked. Before he could answer, the alarm sounded, and we had to lie down on the floor while the ship made a leap across space. I wish they wouldn't always do that when I'm getting ready to eat, I groaned when I was sitting at the table. Someone did a study, replied Hulan. It showed that, for no apparent reason, most jumps are made when the greatest number of beings are sitting down to eat. He punched a few buttons on the table, then looked up and added, Sometimes the universe is just like that. By the way, did anyone tell you about the time component of the jumps? Beg your pardon? I asked, massaging my stomach and wondering if I would be able to eat or not. I take it that means no, said Hulan. A plate floated up from the center of the table. In the center was a pile of something that looked like marinated eyeballs. I decided to skip breakfast. Yes, it means no. Tell me about the time aspect. It's pretty simple, really. One thing that happens when we make one of those leaps across space is that while it takes only a minute of our time, the time passage in the outside world is quite a bit longer. I wrinkled my brow. I know that the faster we go, the slower time goes for us, I said. I had learned that from all my science fiction reading. I knew that if we approached the speed of light, time inside the ship would come to a virtual standstill. This meant that if we spent a century traveling at the speed of light, those of us inside the ship would age by only a tiny fraction of that amount of time. But I had a feeling Hulan was saying something different. We're really not quite sure how it works, he confessed when I asked him about it. We just know that we start a space leap at one point, come out at another few seconds later, and in the so-called real world, a whole lot of time has gone by. Wait a minute, I said. How much time has gone by since I came on board? Hulan popped out one of the eyeball-looking things into his mouth and bent down on it. The squishing sound made me wish we had decided to meet in my room instead. Can't say for sure. I don't always pay attention to that sort of thing. The ship travels at about half the speed of light most of the time. Between that and the space leaps we've taken, I'd guess that a month to about a month and a half have gone by back on Earth. I sat back in my chair, feeling slightly boggled. I had left on the 24th of May. From my point of view, about 3 days had gone by. But Susan Simmons might have done 6 weeks of living since then. It was weird. I was 3 days older, and Susan was 6 weeks older. I wondered what it would feel like to go home and find that she was a grown-up and I was still a kid. I didn't care for that idea all that much. I decided to change the subject. What did you want to talk to me about? I asked, looking at Hulan's plate and wondering if I wanted to try one of those things he was eating. I figured they couldn't possibly taste as bad as they looked. Hulan poked at one of the things on his plate, and a drop of green ooze came out. I decided I didn't want to try them after all. I have been asked to get your reaction on an idea proposed by one of the members of the council that you broke in on the other day. At first I was surprised that Hulan had heard about that incident, but if they hadn't appointed him to be my tutor, I guess it made sense that they would keep him posted on what I was up to. What's the request? I asked. Hulan looked terribly uncomfortable. You know, the Interplanetary Council is engaged in a bitter struggle regarding what we are going to do about your planet. They would like your permission to tap your mind for some additional information. What do you mean, tap my mind? Hulan ordered the table to take away the rest of his food. First, they'll probably ask you a lot of questions, then they'll probably hypnotize you so that you can tell us things about your past that you have forgotten. He paused and said, last of all, they'd like to do some brain work. Brain work? I asked nervously. They're hoping if they dig around in there a bit, they may be able to find out what's wrong with you. What do you mean? I yelped. There's nothing wrong with me. Of course, that wasn't entirely true. I knew I was far from perfect, but I didn't think I needed a brain surgery to fix my minor defects, or even my major ones. I don't mean you personally. I mean you Earthlings. We're wondering if the problem is organic. What problem? I asked, knowing full well what he was talking about. The general human problem, said Hulan patiently. Your race's willingness to destroy your home, kill each other, let people starve, all that stuff. All that stuff indeed. Did they think they would find the reasons for all that in my brain? Suddenly a horrible thought struck me. What if the reasons were in my brain? I don't mean just my brain. I mean every human brain. What if the problem is that there's something wrong with the way we're wired? Would that mean the mess we've made of things isn't our fault? And if so, would that mean things were hopeless? And that we could never fix the mess? Or could the aliens do something about it? What if by looking inside my head they could find a way to help us change? What if by examining my brain they could learn how to help us stop wars forever? Maybe it was no big deal. After all, Croc had already done a little work on my head, and I had been able to get up and walk away from the table as much as if nothing had happened. Just how much digging do they want to do? I asked. We're talking a total cut and paste job, said Hulan. Most of the work would be done with lighted magnets and atomic probes, of course, and our doctors are pretty good, but still there's no guarantee. I swallowed hard. No guarantee of what? Hulan looked straight into my eyes. No guarantee that you'll ever be able to think again. That's the end of chapter 13. Chapter 14 is called Dissected. Make sure to put your book requests in the comments, because not my teacher flunked the planet. Don't put that, because I'm already going to do that. So, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you get notified of when I post new chapters. And please put book requests in the comments. I showed you some books in the last couple of chapters, and so I need you to either choose one of those or just choose something a book that you haven't read before and that you don't have and that you want to hear. Oh. And in the comments, would you guys like to hear the Chronicles of Narnia? Because we have like the whole set of the Chronicles of Narnia. Also, they are super good. I'm not even kidding. They're amazing. I also have Harry Potter. Just something that you want to hear to read. Something that you want me to read. Put it in the comments. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.